I've been sick and it's cold outside, so let's cheer me up by rating someone else's trade who didn't even ask me to. Legends say that this setup has a 60% success rate over the past 4 months, and with a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, that can stack up and be pretty interesting. So we'll see if the legends are true and if this one is worth checking out yourself. This one is a twist on the classic orb, really more like a pre-orb. And a couple of traders that I've traded with recently swear it's theirs. And I'm starting to think that MNQ traders, Mythical Man and Husk trader aren't just cousins, and that family tree might spoon a little bit more than it forks. But if you don't know these guys yet, I'll add a link to their channel, and do me a favor, go ahead and get in the comments right now and let me know which cousin is your favorite, because they will love that. So anyway, here's the setup. And time frame really doesn't technically matter, but we do need to be on a lower time frame to be able to see this because it's a quick trade. So this is the 1-minute chart. And you may have heard of the opening range breakout trade, or orb, even if you trade under a rock. And this is a twist on an orb. But I'm not sure it's fair to call it a true orb, so we're calling it the pre-orb, okay? And you know what I'm talking about. This happens before the standard issue orb trade. So instead of watching the true opening range after open, Mythodical and Husk are taking the high and low of the 15-minute period starting 30 minutes before the open with the MNQ micro Nasdaq E-minis. It's not about the size, okay? It's about how you manage it. But that's the range that they're looking to break out of. So we've got the who, we've got the what, we've got the where. Let's get to the when and how. So the trading window is the first 3 minutes after the market open. If the market opens inside of this pre-orb range, our cousins in crime take the break mechanically for a 2-to-1, 2 being 2x the range for the profit, and 1 being 1x the range for the stop loss. The market might play dirty and open outside of the pre-orb range, in which case their rules are to only take the trade if the market comes back inside and then re-breaks all within the first 3 minutes. So let's see how it does over time. First, I'm a visual person, and hey, so is this video. So I adjusted my Orb Wrangler indicator to show the pre-orb range in purple and 1x, 2x, and 3x extensions. So the cousin's target is the middle line. And I use this orb tool because I made it just how I like it, but by all means, use what you have access to and take a look at this or any other setup for yourself on your own charts to see if it makes sense to you. I also added a session highlighter and set it to just the first 3 minutes of market open. And I'm in Central Time, so that's an hour earlier than New York. And we are watching the New York Open where all of this volume is coming in. So with the lines plotted, I can take a look at these trades quickly while backtesting to kind of help discover any surprise nuances before trying to trade anything like this live. So now you might ask, I always get this, why don't you just whip up a strategy that uses these levels? Okay. The boys like to use MNQ, of course, but I'm going to take a look at MES to compare. Now, the statistics look pretty decent, and this is over a year for MNQ and MES. And this is just taking single lot entries and not scaling up for smaller ranges, which, to be honest, I would want to do with these smaller ranges. So how much you risk depends on account size and range, so you can make your own adjustments. If you don't know how, I have a video that I can link for you so you can kind of figure out how to do that math for yourself. And here we know that the profit to stop loss ratio is 2-to-1, so we can math from there. The stats are showing a lower win rate than I got with my Mythical Man guarantee, But there are a few caveats, so let's kind of talk about that. First, I don't really trust backtesters like this, so I like to go look at some of the trades and see if this quick little deal can even be trusted. And uh-oh, there are some kind of weird little entries. So do me a favor and help anyone in the comments telling me to just quick use a script to backtest. They obviously don't do their own homework, or they would have seen that we get a lot of weird little discrepancies like this. And I think this can be a good place to start, but it's important to actually quality control trades like this. With our chart marked like this, it's really easy to do even without the little backtest strategy. Secondly, this script is taking a trade every time, no matter what. So that means even if we've already had a really significant overnight move, or if it's really obvious that the market is going to be choppy, like from some really mixed trading signals, and even the little tiniest surprise wick can trigger an entry with something really mechanical like this. The human brain doesn't trade that way, for better or for worse. This is why algo trading gets kind of complicated, a lot harder than most people think. But if it obviously makes a surprise wick in one direction or other, and then breaks to the other side with force and volume, we can, as humans, discretionarily improve the win rate by adding a few other basic trading skills that take a lot of advanced coding for a bot to sort out. And of course, when I tally up the recent trades, the strategy has been on a bit of a losing streak in this volatile chop that we're having recently. So that's why the data from as much time as possible that the market has been in similar conditions is important to look at. And even with my TradingView Premium, I can't get enough historical to the tick data to go back months or years to test a fast intra-minute strategy like this when most of the data is going to be down to the minute at the smallest. So if you're wondering how far back I like to test, I favor the most recent days and months the most because, for instance, in this case, this is a breakout strategy, so it's going to be best in volatile times, like a Trump presidency. But we aren't looking to tear this thing apart. We just want to give it an unrequested rating. And I did take the time to go through day by day with the charts to see what this idea really has to offer. So the 1 minute chart testing my sanity aside, my first impressions are, well, okay, I thought this was some sort of weird backwoods stuff when I first heard about it, but at the same time, it's really interesting because we're applying a small recent range to a time with a relatively higher volume and volatility, which in theory should really be great for a breakout trade. Okay, let's get down and dirty and go ahead and rate this thing. I'm giving the Pre-ORB a 9 out of 10 for clarity. It's really easy to identify and gives us something to do during an otherwise hard to trade time period that can be really ugly for some of us. And for control, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. You have to be really fast and on a low time frame chart to catch this. So it isn't the easiest to actually trade, and it's really best for those who can hit the buttons really fast. But you only have to be in that super fast sniper mode for a few minutes. So that's also really nice. Of course, you can get wicked out on some days, but that's part of any trading strategy, really. Consistency. So let's talk about the profitability. It has a lot of promise to be profitable over the long term, especially in the most volatile markets. The MNQ fared much better than the MES, my baby, and I suspect that this is why. So I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10 for consistency. It's nothing to really get crazy and write about as the holy grail strategy, but it's a solid setup that can get you some really great base hits. We know that the stats are a little skewed as far as, between the back testing and the actual results, but so is our trading. Am I right? We're getting a respectable profit factor even off of a 40% win rate that we calculated here without voiding any trades just because of that. So I think that's why the guys are seeing a higher success rate in actual real trading. So let's give this one an 8.5 out of 10 overall. Solid and respectable, not an everyday winner, but a solid option for trading the morning opening break a lot faster than the standard opening range break strategies like mine. And you have the potential to catch both. So what do you think? Comment if you are going to be trying the pre-orb or not, and be sure to tag your favorite cousin. I hope you enjoyed this one. Be sure to give Mythodical Man and Husk a follow on your way to my orb playlist or the next video. And my orb toys are at 𝗏𝗏𝗁.com if you'd like to see them in action and get some more details on that if you're curious. All right, love you. Bye.